So
I
moving
should pull it
on.
up on this computer. Yeah. Okay. Vlad the Impaler to the Ninth Amendment.
Right. So, okay, this one's confusing me, so I'm going to read it and we'll try to explain it. Get
Wow.
an explanation online. So, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. I have no idea what the hell that means.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what enumeration means. Of certain rights, like not of all rights, but just of certain rights. Wait, what is going on here? I need the other. There was some of the other page that kind of stated it and explained it. Why is the Ninth Amendment? Oh, why is the Ninth Amendment bad? Okay, I'm just going to check out what this has to say.
Oh, okay. This is a Wikipedia, not a Wikipedia, but a question underneath it from Annenberg Classroom.
Okay.
And it said, because the rights protected by the Ninth Amendment are not specified, they are referred to as unenumerated. The Supreme Court has
Oh,
found that unenumerated rights include such important rights as the right to travel, right to vote, right to keep personal matters private, and to make important decisions about. Give me a second.
okay. I'm no, that's okay. That's interesting because unenumerated rights, but it says the words enumerated right there.
Oh, important decisions about one's health care, or body. So, I guess it's protecting your right to do anything you need to do.
Weird. Yeah, because against and
Travel,
we were
vote,
talking about
personal
like
matters.
individual rights versus the rights of
One's
others,
health.
and here it specifically
Yeah.
says or disparage others retained by the people.
So I can't keep you from flying. If you're an American citizen, I couldn't keep you from getting on a plane. That would be considered a civil right, protected in the Ninth Amendment. And you couldn't keep me from walking in the street, or you can't keep me from going to a certain store, or you can't keep me from driving somewhere. It's like basic
Hmm.
everyday rights that we take for granted.
Okay,
Sounds like that's
yeah,
a
okay, I
whole.
see it. Yeah, so yeah, and that's what like this one. I don't know why they called it this page. That what's wrong with the Ninth Amendment, but
Neither do I. I
but
saw
basically
that
it says
too.
what you said. It's like there's certain. So it says right here. So in plain language, it means that there are other rights that the people have that are not listed in the Constitution. So it's like those basic things, like you were saying, like just the right to travel. It doesn't say in the Constitution that you have the right to travel. It's like obviously you have the right to travel. It doesn't give that one here, but I think what you said was a good example. Um,
I think so from them. Don't. I don't have an original thought in my head, so don't quote me
no,
on
neither.
that. But
I'm reading straight off of this weird looking.
yeah,
You'll see it on the video maybe, but it's a pretty weird looking page I'm reading off of. It doesn't look super legit, but it's kind of fun details.
so this is interesting. So
Wow. So why?
this
What here was? I'm going to read this a little bit because I don't have an original
is.
thought either. But here, why? Why was the Ninth Amendment added to the Bill of Rights? According to Patrick Henry, PatrickHenryTeaParty.com. I don't know. Whatever. It was like the third Google search. Doesn't matter. Don't take it as super legit, but it's kind of a fun way that he talks. I don't know. So, the history of the Ninth Amendment. Why was the Ninth Amendment added to the Bill of Rights? After the Constitution was written by the Constitutional Convention at Philadelphia in 1787 and submitted to the states for ratifications, many voices arose saying that the Constitution did not sufficiently protect the basic natural rights of citizens. The Anti
Ah,
Federalist Party, in particular, claimed that unless certain rights were spelled out in the Bill of Rights, the government would easily take over these rights and abuse the people. Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and George Mason were all of the anti-federalist opinion. Were all of the anti-federalist opinion. Okay, they all agreed with the anti-federalist position. Sorry.
okay.
Anyways, so
That's
that was the history of the Ninth Amendment. Why does it exist? It was states' rights. It sounds like a little bit.
Sounds like more like individual rights than states'
It's
rights.
individual rights, yeah, but it was sort of like the things that we take for granted. Hmm. But they put something
Travel,
so
healthcare.
vague in though. This one doesn't seem specifically to. Earlier on, he says, "What are natural rights?" Maybe I could read. Anyways, I don't have to read this whole page. Could have an original thought. I don't know.
Well, like traveling, healthcare, what I can buy when I want to buy, as opposed to they can't force me to buy something. Uh, I think basic rights.
There are
Like
basic ones.
I want to buy
Actually,
coffee.
well,
I want to buy coffee. Do I have to am I stuck with Folgers, or I got to buy Max Last too? I have a choice.
indeed. I don't, yeah, exactly. Like certain things you have the choice, and it's not like freedom of speech. It's not the right to bear arms. It's not
But those are
fair
enumerated,
value for
so
your
that they don't count because they were enumerated already. These are unenumerated
exactly
rights.
like what it means. There's this other part here talking about
But that's
what is
so
a
vague.
natural right. It may, but it's well. There's things that you're saying. Here's a few more maybe natural rights in terms of this argument of this person. No, maybe even earlier. The founding fathers realized that they could not possibly list every natural right of human beings that needed protection. Instead, they delegated certain powers to the government that were specifically spelled out in the Constitution and said everything else is left up to the individuals and their state governments. Hmm. So they
I'm
realized
on
that.
that.
Okay. Then it says, what is a natural right? Natural rights are those rights that people have just because they are human. They are natural to mankind and should not be violated by the government. Oh, this is getting vaguer and vaguer. This is his own opinion on it. This isn't the Constitution, of course. So, things like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom from cruel and unusual punishment were judged by the founding fathers to be natural rights that the government cannot violate. Wait, what? Okay, so those are the. Wait, no. So those are the enumerated rights. Oh, I'm getting all confused. Fucking thing.
Yeah,
Those are the ones that are enumerated in kind of the first few clauses, no? Because they said cruel and unusual punishment. That's the Eighth Amendment. Freedom of religion. That's the first. Freedom of speech. That's the first. Those were judged to be natural rights by the founding fathers. Okay. Natural rights, or like you, oh yeah, yeah, that's what you said it like as enumerated or unenumerated. I think that's a similar kind of thing, right? Natural versus
oh,
I don't like the
I'm not
language so much,
sure.
but I think that you got the gist of it. I think that's what they're saying is that those extra things that you wouldn't see in those other first 10 amendments, they also count as your rights. But we're not going to say what they are here.
Yeah, but it's so vague. So what could it possibly mean? Like,
Ah,
uh, the thing is now I'm thinking of this COVID. I have the right to work. I have the right to make money. I have the right to go out. That's all been taken away by COVID. Not COVID, but governors who think that keeping us home, keeping us away from work, is actually going to stop this disease. And it hasn't worked. Not to get into that, but they're taking away our rights to go out to work to make a living.
interesting. That is interesting because I'm trying to read that sentence again. So the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights. So again, the rights
And so that they,
that we talked about already shall not be construed to deny or disparage others, so other rights retained by the people. So those
I
enumerated
can't use
rights
my freedom of speech
shall
to stop.
not deny or disparage non-enumerated rights. It almost puts them non-enumerated rights, the right to travel and these kind of things, above the enumerated rights.
Actually, it doesn't put anything above
No?
it. It
Okay.
just it just says that like I can't use my freedom of speech to trump your freedom of speech. I can't stop you from talking while I talk. about some certain subject. Say we oppose on a certain subject. I couldn't stop you from talking about it. You can't stop me from talking about it.
Yeah. No, but
So,
that's kind of First Amendment versus First Amendment. Here, I think they're talking
so,
about
so, give
enumerated.
me.
So it's like the
So let's say First Amendment versus Ninth. Like I can't use my freedom of speech. Or I say actually even better. Second Amendment. I have a weapon. I can't use my Second Amendment rights to prevent you from walking down the block.
okay.
That's
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
that I would be stopping your ability to travel
That's
by causing
yeah.
you deadly harm.
I'm gonna
Right?
look.
Unless you
Yeah.
unless you want to bring harm to me, I can't use my rights to stop your rights.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can't use my Second Amendment or First Amendment to stop you from walking down the street. That so there is something of a hierarchy there, but at the same time, wow, that makes things really. I just like
No
it shall not.
hierarchy. Everybody's allowed to have. Let's say everybody's equal. Everybody's allowed to have a weapon.
Yeah,
So, like, we can't abuse that weapon to hurt others' rights, or bodily harm, or do something really stupid. And so the Ninth Amendment is protecting that.
yeah, like they don't have an amendment that says "Thou shalt not murder" or something, something like
Yeah,
this. But that's an obvious right of a person,
right, right,
something like that.
something like that. So
I'm
it's
just gonna.
very
I'm
vague.
trying
It's
to look
very
up
hard
these
to. I don't
these.
know how it would hold up in court. I don't know if it's ever been used as a defense for anything.
I'm just wow. Oh wow. Okay, they do. So I just quickly Googled and it's actually unenumerated rights.
You look that up?
Yeah, I googled it again. Sorry, because I was really getting caught up on that. Like, what are we talking about? And then again, whether in the language of the Ninth Amendment, it says that unenumerated rights, well, they exist as well. At least it says that. Whether they take precedence over enumerated, but yeah, unenumerated rights are or let's start with this. Alternative terminology is implied rights, natural rights, background rights, fundamental rights. Unenumerated rights may become, I want them to give examples. They have a little thing here about in different countries: Australia, Ireland, Republic of China, and the United States. Those are the four examples they have of with unenumerated rights or the articles of the Constitution. So straight away they say in the states, well, that's their fourth example, but it's
They're right. I don't like this amendment because it's way too vague.
it's vague, right? So this is interesting. So the United States, the Ninth Amendment, the one that we just read, unenumerated rights, blah 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 blah. Article 22 of the Constitution of the Republic of China guarantees unenumerated freedoms and the right of the people that are not detrimental to social order or public welfare. Oh, now effect in Taiwan. So this
Defined by
article,
communism, though.
it was like it guarantees freedoms and rights of people that are not detrimental to social order and public welfare.
Yeah,
It's
but
definitely
that's
got
defined under
that last part
communism.
after the first part sounds a lot like the United States, but then they tag this other part on the
Yeah,
end that
that's
are
a big
not detrimental.
qualifier.
Sorry.
That's a big qualifier because under communism, like you can't profess freedom of anything because you don't have those freedoms. So you
Well,
would
it's
be
these kind of clauses that they would use. They would say, "Yeah, you have freedoms, but you can't do something that is detrimental to social order." You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but their
Like,
social orders from ours. They want complete obedience to the state. And meanwhile, in America, the state has to obey the people. Doesn't work like that all the time, but
no, and people have the right to protest in the United States to a certain level.
listen,
Of course, each side bitches and complains when the other
of course,
when they get arrested, but that's the thing that's going to happen. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a different application. Anyways, that's interesting. So it clarifies it a tiny little
it
bit.
works a little bit, but it's not like.
Yeah.
How would you define? See, I would think that the amendment in line would define someone's civil rights. You know,
even in this page, like they don't give a list of
Well, it's
rights.
so vague. There
It's
was
so
an
vague.
incident. There was an incident where, while David Dinkins was mayor, um, someone violated somebody else's civil rights. It's a Jewish or black person telling I said I think it was a Jew telling a black person they can't walk down this certain sidewalk, violating his civil rights. That would fall, I would think, on the Ninth Amendment because there's nowhere in any other part of the Bill of Rights, as we've read so far, that
Mhm.
says you can't, you don't have the ability to travel somewhere.
That's
This
it. Yeah,
covers
exactly.
it, but it's so vague that violating someone's civil rights by not letting them walk down the block or going to a certain store they need to go to, it's very vague. I can't see, hard to defend unless you know exactly what your civil rights are.
What the no, but the other rights are like the or well, yeah, yeah. What all the rights are, basically, what all the rights are, like
Because
because
these are
we
because
now know
the
like
rights is
the
covered unenumerated. So we know we have from 1, 2, and well,
one
one
to
and
eight
two
now.
covered,
Yeah,
right? Right? Freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of religion,
yeah.
freedom of self-defense. Basically, their
Basically, yeah,
arms.
yeah. Sure enough.
So, but walking down the street doesn't cover those first two. And from the other nine, from the other 8 or 7 that we looked at, mostly got to do with what happens in the courtroom. Like I can't incriminate myself, right to attorney, right to freedom of freedom from cruel and unusual punishment,
Hmm.
right to a certain amount of bail, speedy trial, what have you. Those are enumerated, but not civil rights.
Yeah, the
Civil rights to
basic
walk
one,
down the
like you
street.
say, the walking down the street example. I think that's a good one. It's like we have a right to do that, but it's not in the list that you just said. Like
Right,
it's
it's
not
enumerated.
freedom of
It's
speech.
unenumerated. Yeah.
There's no freedom of movement. I guess that's a better way of saying it.
Okay, that's a
None,
good idea.
that's in
That's
none of those other
simple.
ones. But that's a
Yeah.
basic right. That might
Yeah.
be that kind of natural right. Yeah, yeah, that makes some sense. And so, how to protect those? But that it's so vague. Like you could say, my natural right is to. Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm trying to make up something silly, but you know what I mean? Like it's to eat paint. I don't know, whatever. No, but it's
Well, if
something
you want.
so weird that. But I say that that's my natural. That's what I don't know. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
vague enough to impute anything in there, and then if suddenly, as again, I'm still reading it again, the Ninth Amendment. It seems like it says that like the enumeration in the Constitution shall not be construed to deny or disparage others. So again, deny or disparage other rights, in my mind, that part of the sentence, that are retained by the people. So
You know,
the first
here in
nine
America,
commandments, they can't be used or construed to deny or disparage
I
these
want to bring up something
natural
really
rights.
stupid.
No?
Fraser, I want to bring up something incredibly stupid.
Okay.
Here in America,
Perfect time.
it is illegal to possess drugs, but it's not illegal to be high. So I can do cocaine, heroin, pot, and go out in public. I can't have it on me, but I can be high in public. Uh, Now, would that fall under this? Because I have the right to be high. I have the right to destroy my body, but not the right to carry the drugs to do it.
Interesting. I wonder. The right to be high. Because, yeah, I'm sure people
I
have,
have the right to be
they just,
drunk.
they eat everything
I have the
really
right to be
quickly.
drunk. I can't operate an automobile, or I can't operate heavy machinery, but I have the right to be drunk and ruin my body.
To a certain extent, I think, well, maybe it's just in Canada, but we have like kind of drunken, disorderly conduct. You can kind of get
Well, see, I'm
arrested
home.
for
I want
public
to buy something.
intoxication if it's
Good.
at the extreme. Well, you can be kind of drunk, like just kind of a little bit wobbly, as long as you're not peeing on statues and cursing
Yeah,
off
yeah,
whatever. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
there are limits to being intoxicated in public. But I understand what you're saying that once intoxicated, as long as you're not driving a car, as long as you're not operating heavy machinery, I don't think they can arrest you for just being
They
that.
can't. Well, they do. They arrest you for public intoxication. They put you in a jail cell, make you sober up. But it's not a misdemeanor or crime or a felony by any means. They just want you sober before you go home.
But that kind of sounds like the Chinese one, no? Like
Kind of.
but it doesn't, like you say, you're not actually committing a
Public
crime,
disorder. Yeah.
but they're, what did it say again? Yeah, it was something about social disorder.
Social
I've
disorder.
clicked
Yeah,
off the
exactly.
page.
Yeah.
But like, if it's in the best interest of the community to get that guy that's screaming on the corner of the street into the drunk tank for a while, rather than
Yeah.
pissing off the whole fucking neighborhood. Shut up, guy. We understand you're pissed. You got broken up with. Go fucking home. But in the good, like, yeah, he's got his right to scream about his girlfriend on the corner, but fuck off. It's 4 a.m, guy. Go and sit in the drunk tank. You don't got any charges. You just gotta, like, sleep this one off. I don't know. Again, I'm just saying, it kind of sounds like that communist one. No, I'm joking, but it's something about social order still.
It's a very fine line though,
It
because
is.
what if I'm drunk enough that I'm not wobbling, I'm not yelling, I'm just walking home in a basic straight line, walking home, not, excuse me, not bothering anybody. They don't have the right to arrest me. But if I'm causing some kind of public disorderly conduct, like I'm yelling, screaming, urinating in the street, like you said,
Yeah,
passed out in the street, then I think, it's not a right anymore that you're violating other people's,
exactly. Yeah.
especially like people don't get drunk 5 in the afternoon, they get drunk 4 in the morning. And they always cause some kind of ruckus.
That's when the
So,
ruckus happens. It's true. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, imagine two people, one that got just high or drunk, but you've had just enough cocaine and just enough alcohol. Like, you've had so much of each, but you're on this perfect balance point of being, the depression of alcohol and the high of cocaine, that you can walk in a straight line, you talk normally because the alcohol is slowing you down, but the cocaine is picking you up. You couldn't even tell it, but you were higher and drunker than anyone else in the city. But what the fuck is the problem? Like, you're not hurting anyone. You're
yeah,
hurting your own body for sure, but you're not carrying cocaine. That's against the law. You're not. Yeah,
that's
exactly. Like,
against
what's the problem? Leave me alone, right? Like, we can
right.
we can think of examples of public urination, but what if you're not doing that? What if you're just fucked up, but not hurting anyone in society?
Well, I wouldn't whip my organ out to go to the bathroom. I'd piss my pants as I'm walking home. I wouldn't try to get arrested for that.
I've definitely taken some pit stops. That's for sure.
So
Oh my god.
here's even better. You remind me of alcohol and cocaine. There is, to get off on a tangent now, people mixing alcohol with Red Bull,
Oh
having shots with
yeah.
that.